How much do you love that new intro countdown clock? Uh, it gets me happy, gets me moving, makes me jump. I love it. I'm Josh Olive with Haven Comics. It's Thursday night, which means it is time for us to talk some comics, talk some conventions, and talk creating in general. So we got a really great show lined up for you guys tonight. So stick around after this other awesome video, both of which were made for us by Two Brothers Comics. Nick Ellis, you rock, brother. Man, I'm glad to be on here, and I'm glad to have you guys here with us because we always have a great time on Shop Talk. Speaking of a great time, you know who to call. It says so on the bathroom wall. What's happening, Alan?
That's actually my old phone number on the bathroom wall, so I kind of need to go update that.
Yeah, you better update that. People are going without a good time. What are they going to do?
I know. I mean, I can give you a stupid dad joke. I did pull the epitome of dad jokes the other night, and it happened by accident. So I think that I am now the apex dad joke, and I look down on the rest of y'all.
You're telling accidental dad jokes?
I told an accidental dad joke. So I did not grow up in a very nice neighborhood, and my daughter, it's well documented, does dance. And one of her classes, she has hip hop. And I told her, I was like, hey, you can't disappoint hip hop. You got to represent on that one. She's like, why? I said, because your dad's from the streets. She's like, what's that got to do with me dancing hip hop? I was like, it's simple. Hip hop was born in the streets. And I got the exact same reaction.
That's terrible.
It is. It is so bad.
I got no words for how bad that is.
The car was deathly silent halfway home.
I bet. Now, I see that underneath your name, it says, shout out to the folks watching in Brazil. So that means you've been in the analytics again.
Yeah, I've been in the analytics again, and apparently 0.03% of our viewers live in Brazil. So, hey, what's up, Brazil?
Brazil. Hola! And if I could speak Portuguese, I would do so. Sorry, I don't. It's really unfortunate. Let's see who we got in the chat so far. We got Kyle. What's happening, Kyle? Good to see you, man. We got Bill Fisher in here with the Yo Joe, as is true and correct. Yo Joe. Nick, yes, you do rock, brother. Hey, man, Alan not only owns it, he looks good with it. See, look at that. He can just do the mom spit thing, and he can put a shine on there.
I think that the next charity or drive that we do, whatever the charity is, if we hit 10 grand, Nick should shave his head.
I don't think he would do that for 10 million.
I think for 10 grand. If we can get to 10 grand, Nick shaves his head.
You up for that, Nick? That's really putting skin in the game, brother. You up for that? And Bill Fisher says, beat streets. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He knows it.
I mean, I remember going to see Breaking and Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo in the movie theater. So y'all ain't got nothing on me.
Man, that ain't right. All right. So we were going to have a special guest on tonight. We were going to have the comic book stunt double of Keanu Reeves on tonight. But he got called out. So we now have the comic book stunt double of Jason Statham. And you can't go wrong with that. Check it out. We got Bryan Silverbacks. Bryan, take it away. I have to jump off for a second so you guys chit-chat.
I didn't know that I was playing second fiddle here. I would have said, no, I'm too good for that shit.
I'll be honest with you. I normally don't know who the guest is until I log in and see what the thumbnail is.
Well, that's probably cool. It keeps the conversation fresh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never prepared for anything that we do other than some sound effects and maybe a stupid joke here and there. And that's about it.
Right on.
Did you happen to see today's short that I posted on YouTube?
Oh shit, probably not. I don't spend a lot of time on YouTube looking around.
Well, it says something about stuff I draw, art of some guy that you might know.
Oh,
Big green character looks a little mean. That's it.
I draw stuff. Volume 1.
Volume 1.
Hopefully of more, but we'll see. Hopefully there'll be a volume 2. I'm thinking about maybe the next one will be volume 2, and I'll scratch out the word draw and put I paint stuff, and it'll just be a collection of the watercolor paintings I've been working on.
I have seen some of those watercolor paintings that you do, and they are flipping gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
What
was really cool. So while I post those, first off, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just figuring it out while I'm doing it. And it's not even, so please don't look to me for, like, if anyone's like, oh, what's your trick? Not knowing shit is my trick. But I got to talk to David Mack, the great watercolor artist David Mack, this weekend. And I got to talk with him probably for about 15 to 20 minutes, just like questions that I had about his process. And it was really fun to interact with him talking about watercolor stuff this weekend.
I'm actually going to pull this up right quick to give people an idea of what we're talking about that have not seen what we're talking about. And I believe this is a reel that you did on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Trying to see, is there one where we just going to scroll your Instagram. Here we go. See, I like this one. I think this one is really cool looking. It's another reel.
Well, yeah, most of them are reels because reels get the most engagement on social media.
Yeah.
So I make process videos so that we can see the steps. And for me, I think that's fun as a consumer and as someone that can look at the final product, because some of the watercolors I will paint skulls and flowers underneath. And by the time the finished painting is done, you won't see any of that stuff that's underneath. But if you watch the process video, you'll know that shit's in there. And it kind of it's almost like Easter eggy.
So what got you actually started on doing the watercolors the way that you do? Was it just something you wanted to try?
All right. So if you look at my illustration work, every line ends and starts where it's supposed to. There's no scratchiness. Everything has an order to it. It's very dress right dress. This is the beginning. This is the end. It's very clear. And my life as a police officer and military person, everything has its place. You're on time. You do this. And I picked up watercolor to practice letting control go and just see what happens and be more adaptive. And I was hoping that doing it with art would bleed into me relaxing a little bit and just being in the moment and being present in life.
Yeah. That's actually really cool.
Nacho.
There's no way that I could do that whatsoever. I mean, I can barely draw my name half the time.
Well, that's the thing. So if anyone's watching, you to be included, if you look up something called intuitive watercolor, intuitive painting, but I picked watercolor as my medium because I figured that might be a cheaper jumping in point. Intuitive just means you don't go in there with any agenda. You just put paint down and see, and as you go, you figure out what you want to do next. There's no right way. There's no wrong way to do anything. And then when you think you're done, you're just like, shit, I'm done. And that's it. And it doesn't have to be a likeness. It doesn't have to look like anything. It really works because of the watercolors kind of blend together, and it makes everything kind of feel coherent, or makes the composition just feel, I don't know what the word is. My vocabulary is failing me, but so it's more about the colors and the shapes that you make that just, so it's just more about the colors and shapes and how looking at whatever it is can make someone feel something, and it's not supposed to be anything though, so anybody can do it.
Okay. So to kind, I mean, we kind of did not, but this is what happens when I'm not prepared for any type of guest. As far as your book, Stuff I Draw, you've got Loggerhead on the cover. For those that don't know who Loggerhead is, can you kind of give them a brief rundown?
All right, so Loggerhead is my creator-owned character that I made. So if I were Todd McFarlane, this would be Spawn. But for Bryan Silverbacks, it's Loggerhead. This is a character that I came up with and that I plan on doing a lot more things. Like, I want to make comic books. I've got action figures. I've got little miniatures for gaming. I've got all kinds of things, but I need to develop more backstory and stuff. So it's my baby, my comic baby.
And Loggerhead, because it's been a while, but if I remember correctly, the character Loggerhead himself is actually like a
human from Louisiana.
Like an urban legend, like a Bigfoot, something along those lines.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's how he's regarded. People you hear rumors that Loggerhead exists, that he's the protector of this area, but very few people have ever interacted with him. Maybe very Bigfoot, so people start spreading these stories. He's what's it, like a cryptid? Like, people aren't even sure if it's real, but there's enough stories out there to get people to second guess themselves.
Gotcha, because I think the last issue that I read,
well, there's only two. One is a team up, and then one was my one shot.
Was the one shot? It was doesn't it like some teenagers or people in their early 20s actually encounter him and they see him?
Yep.
Was that the one shot?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I keep saying the last issue. I think I'm getting it confused with that. Oh crap! What is the name of it? I just completely drew a blank, but I can picture it.
Kara Prime stuff.
Yes, the Kara Prime stuff. I could picture the silver thing.
Yeah, Baku. So that Loggerhead lives like this is all just failed attempts at trying to do things. This is me putting stuff out there and failing hard to try to figure out where I need to be. So I wanted to create my own comic universe where other creators could come and play. So I created the world, and instead of calling it like Marvel Comics or DC Comics, I was calling this little world Kara Prime, and Loggerhead was a character in that universe, and Baku was a character in that universe. And then we started a series called Kara Prime Presents, where each issue would feature a different character for one single story. It's like Marvel Comics Presents, except it was a full issue. So if you picked up issue 1, it was about character A. If you picked up issue 2, it would be about character B. And sometimes they would interact and sometimes they wouldn't, but each issue would be singular and you wouldn't have to buy the whole series. Or I thought I was onto something, but what I was onto is a depleting bank account is what I was onto, and generating stuff that very few people were interested in at the moment. So I have to pump the brakes and make myself. I have to make myself. I have to do something to make people want the shit before. Like I made the stuff first when there was no demand for it. So I have to now figure out how to create the demand and then bring stuff to them. I put the cart before the horse.
Now, when you are working to create your own universe like that, how does from an artist and a writer standpoint, what actually comes first when you are creating an entirely new universe? Is it, they say that like the entire Mickey Mouse thing was literally a sketch on a doodle on a napkin. Did this start out as like a doodle on a napkin, or was it a story in your head?
No, like first, like when I went, I can't say what anyone else does. When I was going to these comic conventions, you go down Artist Alley, and a lot of Artist Alley is creator owned guys that also draw fan art of Deadpool and stuff like that. But everybody seemed to have like their own little flaming carrot or their own little bounty bullfrog. Like they had their thing. And I was like, shit, man, one day I don't want to just draw other people's stuff. I want to draw my stuff. So I started thinking about, all right, well, what kind of story do I want to tell? And then so that's when I created Baku first, because he's a former police officer. He's doing good and he's misunderstood. And I was coming up with all this Punisher type, whatever the story was. It was kind of based on a fictitious version of Bryan. And then I was like, well, he's going to need friends. So I was like, he's going to need like a Hulk type dude. So I was like, all right, well, let's make a big animal person. And that's where Loggerhead came from. Just knowing that I wanted to be able to have a hulking character. And then I was like, well, then we're going to need someone that can do this. That's how it started. But as I got further into it, I was like, well, one day I want to tell a horror story. So I'll create this horror characters and stuff and give them a backstory that I want to dive into later. And I want to write a wrestling story. So I'll write this guy and kind of give him a backstory. So I don't I was setting myself up to tell all of these stories that I'll probably never have a chance to do because I just can't afford it. And I don't have a partner to, like, for me, I'm very team driven. Like I'm very, we can do this attitude. And sometimes when I start projects, I stall out because I'm just like, either I'm not sure I'm on the right track, or I just crave someone to, like, a battle buddy. And sometimes I just stall out and I can't afford it.
Now, I actually just got a text message from one of the guys watching, and we did jump like all over the place there pretty quick. And he was asking me, what is your actual origin story? I guess kind of like what.
Oh, what's Bryan's origin story?
Yeah, we love origin stories. We even have a little video for it.
Do we need to hit that? Are we gonna?
We got to hit the video. We got it. We might as well use it. We go down here and find it. Here we go.
Oh, I'm ready.
See, we are so professional.
Yeah, I like that. It takes a little while, but we'll end up professional.
That's right.
My dad was in the military, so I moved around a lot as a kid. I live in Marietta, which is the west side of Atlanta.
West side.
The west side. I went to the middle school and high school in this area, so this is kind of like home base, kind of. And then I didn't know what I was going to do with my life after high school. So I went and joined the Army. I did the Army for 6 years, and I jumped out of airplanes and I cooked bacon. So after I got out of the military, I started working for my local government as a janitor. And from being a local government janitor, I tried out for the police department, and I worked for the police department for 7 years. And the last couple of years of being a police officer, I started finding my way back into doing art, and that snowballed into where we are right now.
Okay. Let's dive in a little further back. You said you found your way back into art. So
yeah. So
what was your, like? Were you a 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid who found a comic book store at the gas station? I mean, how did you get into this whole thing where you thought, man, that stuff is cool?
I'm not sure. It's sketchy. Like the smaller, like 5, 10. Like my parents thought that I could draw, but I don't know what I was drawing. I don't remember any of that. What I do remember is being in middle school and my dad taking me to the bookstore in the mall. And he was buying Silver Surfer comic books and Fantastic Four comic books. And I looked at the spinner rack and I picked up X-Men and I was like, holy cow, like this shit is awesome. And then so I started asking to go back to the store. And this was like right before the Inferno, like it was late 80s X-Men, like the Road, like I forgot who was doing the cover, but whatever. So that's the X-Men I found. Once I found the comic book that comic books existed, that became something I did regularly too. And I was appreciating the art. I was tracing the art. I was copying the art. I was admiring the art. All of that stuff continued all the way up through the senior year in high school. And I wrote my letter to Marvel and Dark Horse and Malibu Comics and a couple of others. I wrote a letter because the little address is on the inside of the book. Hi, I'm Bryan. I Xeroxed some drawings that I had done. I was like, here's my shit. And I got a rejection
them
letter
in back in the day.
You
couldn't scan them in back in the day. So yeah,
no,
Xerox is what you had to do.
So I got a rejection letter back from all of those people. And I kind of in my heart knew that I wasn't good enough because I had never gotten my art into the Wizard magazine where they featured like 6 pieces of art every week. I was like, well, shit, man, where's my, so I knew that I wasn't ready, but there was no internet. The library, I didn't have a Jedi master to tell me where I need to go. So I just figured I was dead in the water. I was like, all right, well, this art shit ain't going anywhere. And then that's when I joined the military. And once I was in the military, the art kind of just fell away. Like I would draw like maybe 2 or 3 things a year. I was always better than my peers, but I didn't put anything into it until right about 2013.
And so you said you came back into comics and art and all that stuff. How did that transition happen? Where you said, you know what, I'm pretty good at this drawing thing. I'm going to do it.
Well, I always
here 10 years later, I'm going to get a Ringo nomination because I'm awesome.
So I was on patrol. I worked overnight. So there's a lot of, if you ever see a cop car facing one way and another cop car facing the other way,
yep,
all they're doing is talking to each other. And one of them might be asleep and the other one's just keeping watch. Just saying. But so we were doing that. And he pulls up on his computer and he's like showing me this drawing on a website of a parody of Daredevil. And it says Bear Devil. And it's a naked Daredevil. And he's got a censored bar over his wiener. And they're selling T-shirts of it. And he said, yeah, this website, you can draw whatever you want and put it up there. And sometimes they'll pick your stuff and they'll print it. And I got to thinking, well, first off, I wasn't super fulfilled being a police officer. So I was looking to I needed something. And I was like, oh, well, I used to be able to draw. Let me try. I like comic books. I used to be able to draw. Maybe I can still do that. So that's what got the gears going. I started working out ideas. I went and bought a tablet. I went and bought some software. And I just started getting better. Like I started just trying to do it and get better because I was not good. In 2013, I was not good because I was still drawing like 1994, Bryan.
Right. You had to make up a lot of ground.
Yeah. So what I did, I really buckled down. I started watching a ton of YouTube tutorials and videos and tips and tricks. And I started banging on it and grinding until I made something that people wanted.
Well, you're definitely a hard worker, man. You're always putting your stuff out there. You are way more open about what you're doing than most people.
That's because I want other people to try to win too.
See, that's awesome. A lot of people, they want to put themselves forward by putting other people down, and you're not that. You want to bring everybody up. And that's pretty awesome. I always appreciate that about you.
There's enough cake that we can all eat. That's what I say. There's enough cake and we can all eat.
So Josh had mentioned the Ringo. Did you go to Baltimore?
I did.
Did he go to Baltimore? Are you kidding? We're getting a Baltimore Comic Con field report from this man.
Well, that's what I was wondering about. So, Two Brothers live streamed the award.
Oh, the Ringos, yeah. I was sitting at their table with their friend Birch.
Yeah,
was nominated.
I didn't realize you were sitting there with Birch. Well, we're watching the live stream, and here's my biggest question about the Ringos, and this came up multiple times on the live stream.
Yeah, how boring was that one dude? Okay.
That was one of the things, but the other one was, They were using the flashlight on their phone. Did nobody think just to lean over and turn on that damn lamp?
They didn't think about it prior to the broadcast, and there was a lady that tried to work on it while Mark like where that very first interaction, and then they just said hell with it.
That's funny. All right, we got a comment from Bill Fisher. It says, it sounds like you work in different media. What's your favorite to do? And I will say you're mostly like a traditional pen and ink kind of a guy, but then you started getting into the watercolors and stuff here lately. And
That's two different things. Watercolor
yeah,
is not comic related as far as I'm concerned. Like that's a different thing. Like
tell that to David Mack.
Streams.
Dude, tell that to David Mack. You could absolutely do some killer watercolor stuff. That dude makes a living off of doing
Mack.
Yeah, he does a killing with watercolors.
No, I get it, but I'm not. I'm just saying. Currently, at the state I am right now, I don't know. Like I'm using watercolor to let Bryan decompress and let go of control.
That's awesome.
I'm not using it to try to. There's no agenda behind it. I do it because it feels really good when I'm painting and just
that's
letting
all you can ask
happen.
for right there.
So that's why I do it. And generally when I do illustration, it's to pay the bills. It's to do the things. And there's nothing like sometimes people buy the paintings, right? That's always good. But that's not the intent behind its creation. And I can just let that go.
This is a thing, and I guess this is being a non-artist, and then you get people who are artists. Like, I can draw like just somewhere underneath halfway decent.
Yeah.
Not good, but somewhere underneath halfway decent. And if I do draw something good, I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever, and I will never let that go for the rest of my life. You guys who draw this stuff all the time, you throw away stuff that's better than the best thing I could ever draw. But then you're like, I'm going to sell this. I'm like, how do you let go of that? I realize you want to pay.
I don't have another job. I gotta pay bills, homie. Like if I could keep it all. Here's the thing. It doesn't do me any good to be here. I know what my shit looks like. If you look on my walls, my art is not on my walls because I do that. I know what it looks like. I appreciate other people's stuff. So I'll put, except for that wall, but I'll put other people's stuff up because it means more to me to watch, to look and look at the other people's stuff. I don't need my stuff. So I'd rather be in the hands of somebody that can appreciate it the way that I appreciate the stuff that's in my room. And I want to keep the lights on.
Yeah, that is helpful. That is helpful. It's such a skill that I wish I had. I wish I had it so bad.
But here's the thing, Josh.
I got things in my head that I would like to be able to put on paper, and I just.
How often do you work at it, though? You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, I used to quite a bit when I was younger, but I don't anymore. You're right.
Yeah, but and that's not a slight on you. But when people come to my table and they say, "Oh, I can barely draw a stick figure," well, how many times do you try to draw a stick figure? Because I'll tell you what, you're probably an excellent forklift operator. Like you can do the thing where you flip a quarter on there, and I can't do that simply because I haven't practiced doing forklift operation. So when people say that they can't draw a stick figure, well, take your time and start doing it and see what happens. But so it's simply just not something that appeals to you to where you want to put in the work. That's all.
I do draw a mean stick figure. I will say that.
Right on. A three-legged stick figure. I'm just kidding.
I used to when I was a kid, I used to do these little battle scenes.
Yes.
Where it would like be the whole page in landscape, right? And I would draw this terrain, and then I would draw this mostly just like Snake Eyes or somebody like coming through, and I would do the little dotted lines behind him to show how he's moving. And he would go through doing flips and karate kicks and chops and shooting and blah, 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 blah. I would have guys getting blown away. And I used to do that stuff all the time when I was a kid.
Me too.
And when I'm in meetings and things for work now, I kind of still want to do that. And I like, can anybody see what I'm doing? Okay, no. All right, cool.
See, that's wild because when I was a kid, I sat around and tried to watch scrambled Cinemax all the time.
Yeah. I can't relate.
So every time we have a creator on here, I ask them one particular question.
Uh-oh.
You've already got past that.
There's one question that every creator we've had on here has been asked.
Okay.
And it's for some reason I'm always fascinated because we just get totally different answers. What comic books are you currently reading, or do you still read comic books?
I don't read well, so I don't read comic books. So if I buy comic books because I like the way they look. So if I'm interested in a story, I will watch YouTube videos where people have condensed and kind of summarized the story for me so that I can appreciate the story. But reading hurts. It physically hurt. I'm not good at reading and it hurts. So I don't do it.
You would actually be surprised at how many creators have told us, I don't read comics.
Yeah. Now here's what I do.
Have I got the story for you?
Larry Hama? Oh, the silent issue of G.I. Joe?
All you got to do is look at the pretty pictures, man.
Yeah. What I do is I watch a lot of movies. And as I'm watching the movies, I am pulling creatively storytelling aspects, lighting aspects, moods through the color. And then, so I'm doing that. I'm looking for things like that. Like what's the payoff? Motivations. I'm looking for all of that stuff because that's going to be great in storytelling, whether it's in comics or anything else. And then I also watch for performances because I do some acting stuff and I need to, so movies is where I go. That's my default for pleasure is movies.
So I'm glad you brought up the acting because I wanted to ask you about that. How did you get started in that? And then how did you end up getting your ear blown off on The Walking Dead?
I live relatively close to Atlanta, and nowadays they film a lot of stuff in Atlanta, and there's several. So I'm not drawing all the time, and I was like, well, I can do other creative stuff, and I found these Facebook groups that said we'll hire extras. If you're available for this day, apply. If you meet these requirements, apply. And I started replying to some of those, and I would get a couple of jobs, and I would just go be an extra for a day. And I was like, all right, well, this is cool. Like I'm still in the creative, I still felt like I'm honoring the creative side of my body by being on set and watching things happen. Even though I have no say so in anything going on, it still felt good to be in that environment. So I did that a couple of times. I didn't rely. Some people do that 5 days a week. Like they're chasing job after job after job after job because you only hear about extra work maybe like a day before they need you. So every day you have to be checking the message boards and applying and everything. So I was doing that. I did that a couple of times and I just was not fulfilled with being treated the way that a lot of background workers get treated. And I knew that I had more inside of me. Like I knew I was capable of more than just walk over here, put that down and walk back. I was like, dude, anybody can do this shit. Like, I know that I have more inside of me. And then that's when I started taking acting classes so that I wouldn't be, so I could, not that there's anything wrong with background, but I knew I had more inside me to fulfill me that I needed to do more than that.
Is it funny to you that you cast as a cop a lot?
No, I'm happy that well, I apply because a lot of the jobs say, military training a plus, law enforcement training a plus. I'm like, shit, I got both of those. And I already have I have a pretty decent haircut for cop stuff.
True.
So I apply to those more than I apply to regular stuff because I feel that the pool of people they're choosing from is smaller. Smart. And I've been told that I've got a really stern look on my face that always looks like I mean business.
Yeah, you look like Jason Statham's stunt double. when you're wearing the nice button-down shirt and the slacks,
you'll see it this weekend,
right? Which you're going to be wearing this weekend. When you're in that getup, it's just like did Jason Statham just walk through here?
Yeah.
What just happened here? Um, yeah, you should absolutely get in touch with him because he probably needs a stunt double.
Yeah, but I'm probably too broken to be a stunt double for him. But I'm gonna need a stunt double for the stunt double.
You could be the butt double for all his nude
Oh,
scenes.
dude, my ass! Like I don't have an ass. I have hips that just turn into like the backbone. Like when you watch those like crackhead strippers, and you're like, dude, why? Like you see them in the movies and stuff. You're like, where's your ass, lady? I'm that, but the male version.
Oh,
that runs in my side of the family. On my dad's side, his half of our family just has no butt, and they call it the McCreary butt.
Yeah,
after the side of the family that we inherited that from. My wife laughs and says my butt is concave.
It just goes in.
She's like, there's nothing there.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna try my best to start doing exercises that at least like pop it out, like a dent in your car, like just pop out the dent a little bit.
So I promise you that if I round the corner at the Sand Mountain Collector Con this coming Saturday, and if you are not in your booth doing squats, I'm gonna be mad as hell.
Oh, well, hopefully if all things go right, I'll be sitting down drawing pictures.
Okay, that's
right.
Good.
Or just like ringing people up, like, yep, you can have that print. Yep, you can have that.
Yeah. We'll see.
You want to buy that painting? You got it.
Yeah, I have 2 I'm coming with.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I've got them all framed up. I only have 2 of the big ones left, and then I have a handful of the small ones.
Brazilian butt.
Like, I would need a Brazilian butt implant. Like, you can't lift shit that ain't there. Like, you'd be lifting the back of my leg all the way up there.
I'm flexing air.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, you had posted this on Instagram. This was several years ago.
Oh, shit.
Your past sins are coming back to haunt you.
No,
I don't hide from them.
I don't know what, and you and I actually talked about it at the Pop Culture Expo one year. I don't know what it was about this one particular cover. It was a commission that you had done, and it was a Lady Death sketch cover.
Oh, that was for Shane and Dustin.
And that right there, I don't know what it was about that cover, but the second I saw it on Instagram, I was like, oh, I got to have that shit. Let me message him. And then I saw that it was a commission.
Yeah.
And I was like extremely butthurt.
That was Shane. Rest in peace to Shane. Shane was a hardcore silverbacker. Like, he wanted nothing but the best for most people that he came in contact with. And even though I swore up and down that I did not draw women, he said, you're going to draw on this Lady Death blank cover I have that's like a 1 in 50 or something like that. And he's like, I want you to have her wearing a Rancid t-shirt. And so it took me a while. I brought it home and I let it collect dust for a little while. I was like, oh, maybe Shane will forget and blah, blah, blah. And Shane was on my butt. And I took a lot of time because I hadn't really done a lot of females. I still don't, but I hadn't done any female work until that point. So I really had to, I put a lot of effort into making it not look like a man. Like, I won't say she's beautiful, but she doesn't look like a man.
I'm actually scanning Instagram now trying to find it. And I know it was a long time ago.
Dude, my Instagram, there's like 6,000 posts on Instagram. You're going to be there forever.
Well, now I'm waiting on the computer to catch up with me. And as far as you not doing women, there's a particular watercolor painting that you did of a woman that's, yeah, that's kind of hot.
Yeah, I'm trying because I don't know. I'm feeling my way out. Like, I'm getting more comfortable with illustrating a female, and when I'm doing the paintings, I do have like a Google reference photo that I'm looking for shadows that helps a lot. I'm working my way to try to do it, but I take a lot of time in those paintings to make sure that those naked blue chicks are looking good.
Well, the naked blue chick definitely looks good.
I can't argue that.
And so another thing that I've noticed on your Instagram, you draw a lot of wrestlers. I'm assuming you're a big wrestling fan?
I am a wrestling fan.
All right. AEW or WWE?
AEW. Like, I'm mad that we're losing Jade Cargill, but
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of surprised she's going to continue wrestling, period.
dude, but if you have the opportunity to work at the pinnacle of the business, even if it's just a 1-year contract, just to check that off your bucket list, fuck yes.
Well, some of the interviews that I've seen with her, it really come across as just her working in AEW. It was just a, mark wrestling off her bucket list, period.
Yeah, well, you can make more buckets on your bucket list. Like, so she did that with zero experience wrestling. She saw how well she was embraced by the crowd and she was learning on the job. She had a good time. Now she took some time off to spend with her family, gets this offer from WWE, spends a year doing that, man. Dude, that's awesome. That's the kind of shit, awesome, man.
I tell you, though, the one time that it actually got me when she come walking to the ring was when she come walking to the ring cosplaying as Chitara from Thundercats.
Oh, yeah. Thundercats, Storm, Jade.
Yep.
Some Mortal Kombat. Like, she's a nerd.
Her Storm cosplay, there's nobody out there that can touch that. It is that good.
I want to be like, she is a stunningly beautiful individual human being. Like, man, like she's the Scott Steiner of the female. Like, she's Big Papa Pump. She's Big Mama Pump when it comes to wrestling. Like, she is a badass.
So what you're saying is we should have her at the expo?
Dude, if you could, yes. I think she's out of Florida. But Jade Cargill here, so she was a swimsuit model, I believe, or a fitness model and a swimsuit model.
Holy smokes.
And that's not even one of the better pictures of her Storm cosplay.
Yeah, dude, anything like
that's a pretty accurate Storm.
She comes out when her music hits, Josh, it says a storm's coming and a lightning bolt hits, and then Jade Cargill comes out. Like, a storm is coming. That's not an accident. And the white hair, she has white hair all the time.
Yeah. I mean, she's hardcore into cosplay, and she's very good at it.
But no, I'm an AEW fan because I like the freedom that the wrestlers are given to fall on their face with their promos and stuff like that, that it's not as canned and scripted as the current WWE product is. It's as close as I think we can get back to the Attitude Era, where people just come out there and they do what they got to do. And like, it's not Attitude Era, but at least they have the freedom of cutting their own promos, because you can tell some of them straight up are turds. I'm like, dude, put the mic down. That's terrible. But how else are you going to learn?
Well, so everybody's been talking about it, and we'll talk about it right quick, then we'll get back to comic books. Yes. Where do you fall on the CM Punk firing?
You got to do what's best for business. I believe that CM Punk was probably too cocky and rubbed people the wrong way and thought that his shit didn't stink, and people didn't enjoy that. And I don't know, if I was Tony Khan, I would make sure that when I fired him, I have rights to his likeness for a couple more years or something, so I could still do action figures and shit like that. Like, make sure that I can still get a return on investment on however much he paid to have him there.
Yep.
But you definitely, if you've got a company like that, you can't have someone back there just stirring up shit because they think they're awesome.
But, if you think about it, with Tony Khan buying ROH, he pretty much owns CM Punk. I mean, he owns his entire back catalog except for the WWE years.
Yeah. Well, okay. I don't know the ins and outs of all that stuff, but so I don't speculate to. I just mean, like, to me, that just means they can show the footage on TV. I'm sure they can't print a CM Punk T-shirt without his permission.
Yeah, but if they go to a streaming service and it comes more pay to play and they've got that entire tape library, yeah, I know that they've been talking with various streaming services about that entire.
Oh, if they go to anywhere, it's going to go to Max, because that's a Warner Brothers thing.
Yep.
So yeah, so I work pretty closely with Michael, the guy that runs Headlock Comics, which is a comic book series where he teams up with wrestlers and tells stories with the wrestlers. Like he co-writes stories with the wrestlers, either stories about them being on the road and pissing in somebody's bottle or whatever, or it could be a story that a wrestler just made up in his head, like a superhero story or a spooky story. So he works with wrestlers on every single story and brings that to. So I work with him, and I get to do variant covers and all kinds of stuff with like Danhausen, and right now there's one for Powerhouse Hobbs that I did. Like so, I work a lot with Headlock Comics, and I'm trying to this year. The rest of this year, I'll be doing a lot more projects with them, wrestling related.
So please tell me it's going to be called The Book of Hobbs.
No, the book is called Tales from the Road, and his is just one story in the book. So it's not a specific book for him.
Yeah, because we need an actual Book of Hobbs. I mean, we've heard about it so much, we need the actual book now.
Have you guys seen the new variant cover? Lauren Becker is a seller at conventions and stuff. Danhausen came over to his booth at a convention and bought a whole bunch of stuff from him. And he started talking with Danhausen and was like, "Hey, I got an idea." And so he did a variant cover of is it the Batman 251?
The Neil Adams,
the Neil Adams cover with Joker and the Batman on the card, but with Danhausen as the Joker.
They debuted that at Boston or in Baltimore.
Beautiful looking cover.
Yeah, they were selling them for $30 a piece, and I don't know if it's widely known, but maybe your audience. So at New York Comic Con, they're dropping a foil version of it.
Yes, I did hear that.
Wow.
But yeah, so I spoke and hung out a little bit with Danhausen and Lauren at Baltimore.
That's awesome. So tell us about the Baltimore Con. Because we haven't been. So tell us, what was your experience there? Was it cool? Was it?
I don't think I'll give you my experience, but I don't think I experienced enough to give you a comprehensive thing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I didn't get around. I didn't get to interact with as much as I would have liked to because I needed to be at my booth trying to make money.
Yep.
So it's a huge. I would equate it. Oh well, maybe. It's about the size of the expo area as far as like footage on the ground.
Okay.
Like it's about that size, but it's more of like an L. Like it's two little wings coming off of it.
Okay.
So, but there was 3 separate artist alleys, which I wasn't a big fan of having everybody split like that.
Yep.
But man, it was huge. The staff was great. The building was great. The area of town reminded me a lot of like movies. Like I had never seen this type of housing before where it's, the front stoops, like it's the steps and then 4 steps down and that's the front door. Every house is like 3 stories, but they're only like this wide. And it was just one's red, one's brick, one's yellow, one's red. Like it felt like I was on a back lot somewhere, just the way that it was.
Have a good one, Kyle. Thanks for joining us, man.
But yeah, so there was just so many legendary creators that it was just fun to be in the presence of those guys and gals. And then when I went to the Ringo Awards ceremony, like a lot of those guys are in this one room. Like not even all the legends that attended the show daily were in the room for the Ringo Awards. Like they didn't, I don't know if they didn't come or they didn't have a plate set, but man, like Arthur Adams was there. Chris Claremont's line was a mile long every single day. And I thought that he had done enough shows to where people had already gotten all their Chris Claremont stuff, but his line was steady packed. Man, I don't know. There was a lot of talent in that building.
That's awesome.
It's amazing to see. I can see how someone could come there and just go broke. And there's a reason why that like a Quick Trip size booth for CGC, because of the amount of like signing that was going on and stuff like that. Like CGC had this huge blocked off area the size of a gas station that was just all of them and all their people and the computers and the verification and all that stuff. It was a huge area.
Were they doing on-site grading?
Oh shit, I don't know. I don't think so, because I saw people carrying around the bags.
That would be cool if they did on-site grading.
I think they only do that like at New York and San Diego. I don't know that they maybe the Seattle show. I don't know.
Yeah, I know they do it at some shows, but not very many.
I was not aware if they did do it at this show, but they had a pretty big footprint at this show.
It's Bianca! Hey! Everybody loves Bianca. You can't help but love Bianca. She's 100% good human being.
I like that.
Did you at the Pop Culture Expo? Did you get to walk around any?
Me? Yeah. I walk around all the time.
Well, over where Nathan Zerdy, where he was at the Pop Culture Expo, right next to him, that was Bianca's booth.
Oh, I didn't.
That was.
I can't dial that far back into my memory banks. But I do remember that area of the expo, and I'm sorry, Bianca. I didn't.
Well, here, this may ring a bell for you. She just designed our new Sad Dragon logo for our Dragon Constellation event we do every year.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's Bianca, and she just whipped that together in like 15 minutes too. So,
right on.
Yeah,
that's
she does
work, so you can get that done. You can get that turned into patches and all kinds of stuff.
You mean things like this?
Well, no, patches that require vector, like for you wouldn't. Never mind.
You're right. I would not understand. I would not. But Bianca is just awesome, and we think the world of her. And
yeah, that's a style that I cannot nail. Is cartoon, kid friendly, very bubbly feel. Like I've tried.
She's very sneaky on the kid friendly front, because she can do the stuff that looks like that but is not kid friendly, because she's got a little twist in there. She can do some stuff like that. But I just found out
that way.
Right. I found out from Dragon Con, Bianca, that her husband is a tattoo artist.
Oh, that's what they call new school. That's exactly what that dragon looked like to me, was a new school tattoo.
Well, I don't know if you know this, Bianca, but we have a tattoo expo here in Huntsville every year. You guys could come up to that, and that would be pretty awesome.
I need some new tattoos.
I'm just saying.
I do too, but my wife does not like the ones that I have. So,
well, I got a new wife. Well, I got rid of my wife, so I don't give a shit.
I kind of like mine. I'm gonna keep her around for a little while longer.
Yeah. Let him know, because any excuse to bring you guys up here, we're all on board with that. That would be spectacular.
So
I know a guy. Yeah, if you need a new tattoo, she knows a guy.
So what was it like actually attending the Ringos as a nominee?
Dude, I don't think I should have been there. Like there was.
I would like to stop you right now. That is complete BS, and you need to get that crap out of your vocabulary.
You deserve to be there,
dude. You draw. Okay. You're a phenomenal artist, and you did some covers this past year that were just absolutely incredible.
I appreciate it.
So you take your modesty.
All right. Well, I felt out of place.
Take your imposter syndrome and shove it. That's garbage.
I felt out of place being in the room with some of those people that have such a body of work that it was humble. I don't know if humbling. I don't think I needed to be humbled, but it was very surreal to be in a room with that much going on. And you got, Walt Simonson and his wife are over here. And then you got Claremont, and you got Mark Waid. Then you have all these other, dude, it was just it was really cool to be a part of.
That cover right there.
That's the one.
Love that cover.
That's
So,
the one
yeah.
that got second place.
Yeah, that cover right there. No, you most definitely deserve to be there. You earned that nomination.
I
Period.
appreciate it. But yeah, so they gave us, so the first hour was all nominees get a free drink, and then there was finger food, and then they let us in, and we all got a salad, and then we all got chicken and crab cakes and green beans and potatoes. Everyone got that same thing, and then we got a like a cup with the Ringo Awards like glued embedded in the glass, and a gift bag that was about this big full of graphic novels, and a Funko Pop of DC's Demon.
Oh, nice.
A Funko Pop of you. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, well, everybody got the same Funko Pop.
Now, I heard of something that you said you sat at the table with Justin Birch.
Yes.
And I heard of something that happened that involved Justin Birch that you could very possibly verify.
Probably not, but okay. Because I only saw him at the table.
Okay, so I heard that when he did not win for Best Inker, his wife magically produced a meatball sub out of her purse and gave it to him on the spot to put him in a good mood.
Well, he wasn't up for Inker. He was up for letterer.
Letterer, sorry.
So I did not see a meatball sub, so I'm going to have to remain indifferent.
Okay.
I did see him immediately. I do think that as soon as the winner was announced, I do believe I saw him conversing through text message with Dustin.
Yeah,
I will say that any wife who's just like prepared for you in the event of a loss that she's going to whip out a meatball sub for you, that's good wife material right
His
there.
wife was sitting right next to me, so her and I were having conversations throughout the night because I just didn't want to talk over everybody. So that was cool.
Did she give you a meatball sub? Is that what you ate? You
I
ate
don't
his
eat
meatball
bread.
sub? Is that what happened?
No, I just ate the meatballs. No, I don't eat bread, so I didn't see the meatballs.
He's got all the sauce, and it's like, what? What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Hello, Chloe.
That's awesome.
But no, I did not see any meatballs.
Like I said, I heard that as soon as it was announced and he did not win, because that was the second year in a row he's been nominated.
That's what he said.
And he did not win, and she gave him a meatball sub, like pulled a meatball sub out of her purse, and it was one from home, so that like automatically put him in a good mood.
Didn't Stan Sakai win for like best letterer or something, which is bizarre? I get that he does that too, but I mean,
I don't recognize a lot of the names that were nominated because I don't, like I said, I don't read, I don't keep up with the current products, so a lot of the names were foreign to me anyway.
Well, Stan Sakai created Usagi Yojimbo and has been doing Usagi.
Oh yeah, he did win
Yojimbo since like 1984 or whatever. How do you beat that? He's a universally beloved guy.
Yeah, well, he didn't win the other thing he was nominated for. Whatever, he was nominated for 2 categories, and he didn't win the first one, and he won the second one, the letterer. I forget what the nomination was, but he was nominated for something else.
Yeah, because when we were watching it, there was a lot of people that was nominated, and it was like, I've never heard of any of this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Ringo Awards are more designed to if you watched it, the guy said it was like they're trying to facilitate new stuff that Mike would have approved of and that he would have been a fan of. It's not necessarily the best in the business or the Eisner Award level, spectacular. It's whatever that guy would have liked and that they can appreciate. So maybe they're not going for the traditional, maybe they're going for smaller titles and stuff to maybe they're going for the Bryan Silverbacks is to boost him and maybe try to get them, the next guys to the next level instead of always just hanging off what's popular and what's, it's going to work. That person's awesome. So let's nominate somebody else.
Well, I'll
Yeah,
just tell you right now, if Mike Waringo would have liked your stuff, that's a pretty good company to have right there.
Yeah, sadly, I won't know.
now I understand what you're saying because there was one category, and I can't remember what the category was, but Scott Snyder's Clear was nominated in that category. And it was like the second I saw it, I was like, "Oh, this is hands down. This is a no-brainer because this is this 3-issue series has potential for miniseries of the year. It's just that good."
Yeah.
And the book that won it, I have never heard of. Never. I mean, it was one of those that they printed out of their basement. I had no clue.
And you when you say that, it sounds almost derogatory the way that you say they put it in their basement.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be, but I mean,
I know you don't mean it. I know you don't mean it. But what I'm saying is, maybe these judges, part of their criteria is, how can we help someone that hasn't had the help already? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So maybe that's one of the factors that they use for grading, and kudos to them for doing that.
But see, to me, and it makes total sense, but then why does Stan Sakai win for lettering?
Probably because they didn't let him win the first award. Dude, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it kind of seemed like the actual awards themselves were a little bit all over the place.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That way you can't, like, you couldn't guess them on DraftKings. Like, keep it fresh.
Well, I can tell you that there was a bunch of folks watching Saturday night on the Two Brothers stream. And when we did not hear Justin and we did not hear Silverbacks, everybody was like screaming a collective bullshit. It's rigged.
I appreciate that. Dude, really just, I would have never thought that I would have gotten to that point. You know what I mean? Even if it was just a one time, like, whatever. If that's the highest I ever get, fucking A, there's a lot of people that haven't gotten there, you know? Like, whatever. That's awesome.
That's very true. I've known a lot of folks who have done comic book art for a long time, and they've never had their name attached to anything like the Ringos or anything at all. So yeah, that's a pretty incredible an honor that you earned.
I 100% appreciate it, and don't think that I don't. I understand how elite it is to be nominated for an award like that.
So going back to the show itself, numbers wise, how many folks attend?
Oh, dude, I wouldn't be able to fare a guess because my position was like, I didn't have great positioning, which kind of leads to me not having a great experience like at that level, because I was facing a wall. And there wasn't a whole lot of people that I could even see. So I don't know. I couldn't even fathom a guess.
One thing you can put on all your stuff now is Ringo Award nominated.
I will include that in any bios for future shows or write-ups or anything.
Put it on their stuff at the table. Oh, it's a dog. Is that Nacho?
That is Nacho. Whenever I do these things, she's like, "What's going on? What's going on?"
Well, you can't blame her. You're paying attention to somebody else, and she wants.
Yeah, she was sleeping, and I came down here, and now all of a sudden she's like chewing bones and doing. Oh yeah.
Hey, Nacho. So
I will include. I don't think that enough people will come by my table when I do. Comic book people don't come to my table when I do shows. That's why I stopped really bringing comic books with me to shows, because they're not there. They're just there to buy the fan art of their favorite thing. They're not there because of Bryan. They're there because that print of Venom or that print of Batman. Like, that's, I'm not to the level where Joe Public walks up to my table, and I'm not high enough on the comic book creator scale for comic book people to know who I am.
I will say, you put that Ringo Award nominee like on your table.
Yeah,
that people will take that seriously. Comic book people will be like, "Wait a minute, I need to check this guy's stuff out. I need to give that a second look."
Well, I will next time I get any kind of marketing things, then I will include that, like my flyers or another banner, stop, buddy, another banner or something to that effect.
Well, you're on video. You're on camera again, so she might need to puke again.
No, she doesn't. She'll start licking her lips. That's how I know it's coming.
Yep.
And I knew it was coming when I was doing the video, but I thought I had more time.
I've got dogs and cats, so I know exactly what you're talking about with that.
Oh, and so at the show, though, I was telling you earlier about Michael, the guy that does the Headlock Comics.
Yeah.
He had arranged for us to stay at a friend of his house nearby.
Nice. Very economical. I appreciate that.
That's the only way I could be able to afford this trip. So, but through that, I got to meet some people that are like the guy that writes Punisher. Like I got to talk to him because he was in the car with us, and the guy that wrote the Danhausen story and used to write for some sort of comic forum or something. Like I met some people that are doing things.
That's awesome. And that's a big part of it is who you know, right?
Dude, I will swear by, no matter what industry, no matter what your thing is, networking is how you will get advanced. You don't have to be super great. You just have to be a good person and treat people well. But networking is where it's at, man. Just getting in front of somebody and be like, oh, you guys do that too? Hey, next time I'll have to have you on a project with me or something. You're like, oh, cool. Like you're on their radar all of a sudden.
Yeah. Now I know that I'm pretty sure it's already over with, but Mad Cave Studios every year does basically like a talent search.
Yeah. So part of the thing was the project I was involved with Mad Cave was also nominated for a Ringo Award. They did the Lower Your Sights graphic novel anthology. And I had a piece inside of that project as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm a badass. But so I went to the Mad Cave booth and I hung out with their the senior editor over there, Chaz.
Oh yeah,
Changburn. And I talked to him because I had entered their talent search contest this year. And he's like, Bryan, we're looking for people that haven't done shit. He's like, you didn't win. I was like, damn it. Because I'm trying to get writing work. And that's the sample I sent in to Mad Cave was the writing work. But I can promise you this. You have not seen the last of Silverbacks and Mad Cave.
Okay, so
we're big fans of Mad Cave.
If I understood basically the instructions on the contest, you had to choose a property that they already had, and you had to write what property did you choose? Just out of curiosity.
The Battle Cats.
Okay, cool.
Because I was, and when I talked to Chaz, because I was like, I don't know I didn't read all of this. I don't know where to go. That they were really just looking to see if you could write. Your story did not have to be canon. Your story did not. They were looking for how you write. Can you progressively tell a story on the page? They just wanted to limit how far out you went. So they made you pick one of their properties so they could just see if you can write in that style. Because I emailed Chaz. I was like, dude, I don't know shit. So he sent me a whole bunch of PDFs to look over. And I looked at all the PDFs and I was like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know where, like, he was like, dude, it doesn't really matter. Just have it happen in that world. So I didn't write about any of the characters that existed. It was just something that could have taken place in that world.
See, I had an idea for Hunt, Kill, Repeat. And never did enter it just for the simple fact of on there it said you had to script it like a comic book.
Yeah.
I could not figure that shit out to save my life how to script it as a comic book.
Well, because you know what's weird about that is there's no 100% true format to that.
But see, the problem was in my mind, I was writing a complete story, and every time I tried to write it down, it come across as I was literally writing a complete story.
All right, so shit.
And
the best advice I can give you, aside from getting like what is it called, books to letters or pictures to letters by Michael Bendis or something like that, just read how to write a screenplay. It's almost the same as writing a screenplay.
Okay.
Jim walks into the room, wipes his forehead, talks to Jill, and then this is what he says. And then the next
establishing
panel is
shot
panel
of
two.
city. Yeah.
Like it's here's the part of writing comic books. I'm not going to tell you to be a good writer, but I'll tell you this. You want to write so that your artist knows what the fuck he's doing or she's doing. That's your only objective, is to write on the paper enough information so the artist can give you what you need. Aside from the dialogue and the actual story part of it, all that needs to be on that paper is what your artist needs to draw. He doesn't need to know all the backstory and all the shit. If it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. You just say, pulls up in a fancy car. That's all you got to do, unless it needs to be specific. So you're writing for the artist. All of the stuff on there except the dialogue is for that artist. Everything except the dialogue. So keep that in mind. And if
I
you're
never
working
thought of it like that.
Huh?
I never thought of it like that.
Yes. So when I write, like, let's say Karen walks into the room and it's some sort of space thing. I'll put in parentheses, think Leeloo Dallas from Fifth Element mixed with whatever her name was from The Ghost in the Shell. Like, you put that in parentheses just to kind of get them in the right ballpark. But then you just go on. You don't. She's got 8 fingernails and one of them's longer than the other. Who gives a shit? If that doesn't matter, let the artists spread their wings. Like, you don't want to over tell them what to do. If it doesn't matter, let them have fun with the drawing part of it. So what I'm saying is very loose, just enough to get your artist to give you an image that fits what you're looking for. And the dialogue.
Good advice.
And then also another thing for anyone that wants to write, keep in mind the page turn. So your odd pages are here, and then when you open it, there's an even page here and an odd page here. If you're going to do a reveal, you do it on the even page so that like oh shit, I got to turn the page. Oh, there he is. It's the bad guy.
It's Venom.
Yeah, so page turn reveals is a thing. So if you want to do something and come across as, oh, that guy kind of knows what he's doing, then do one of those.
See, you got your money's worth out of this whole night, Alan. He got good advice.
I know. We literally started out backstage, and honestly, the best question that I possibly asked him, I asked him backstage, and as soon as I asked it, I was like, shit, I should have waited.
I was wondering why I was like, dude, does he really want me to fucking go all out on this?
Well, because we were backstage, and I was like, hey, I heard you used to be a police officer. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, how do you go from being a police officer to doing a cover for the Department of Truth? And as soon as it come out of my mouth, I was like, son of a bitch, I wish we'd have been live when I asked that.
But no, we covered that earlier, how I got into police to doing art stuff. I mean, unless you like, I could take it to a more personal level if you like, but I don't know that your audience wants to hear more about Bryan or just hear more about like comic stuff.
It's all either way, brother.
Talk about.
Well, all right. So in the thing where I try to be honest and I try to uplift and I try to inspire people to do shit that they're stalling on. I didn't voluntarily stop being a police officer. I got an off-duty DUI. And I had to resign from my position. So the reason I say that is because I'm not proud of it. I am not braggadocious. Like I'd rather. I'm not hiding from it, but I'm generally. I usually say I was a cop, and then I've got the art stuff, and I started doing that because it's not something I want to dwell on. But I bring it up here because that was a very, very low point in my life where I had lost my retirement. I had lost my health insurance. I had lost my income, all in this one action, this selfish action that I chose to do. Luckily, nobody got hurt. Nobody was injured except me. It was a one-car thing. So to get to where I am now, I had to start here. And so the reason I bring it up is because I know that somebody that may see this will be starting here and think that it's just impossible to do this. And it's not. So that's the reason that I hope that somebody can see that and be like, but I don't. That's how we got here.
Honestly, that's awesome, and thank you for sharing that. Because I mean, you never can tell. Somebody somewhere might hear that, and it legitimately helped them.
So here's the thing. So Bryan posts on social media quite often, and every now and then I will post something semi-inspirational. And when I do that, sometimes I get clowned, or someone will have some rude ass comments and whatever. I don't give a shit. Like, I post and ghost. Like, I'm out. But that post wasn't for them. And if one person sees that post and pulls what that post is, then this post was for that person. And I'm okay with that, because I know that one person saw that and it pressed the right button. It popped their mood. It did something to make their day, life, or something better for them. And that's who that post is for. So I will continue to do shit like that. And so me telling you this, someone may hear it at some point, and then this could help them. I don't know.
That's awesome. I see you don't post enough about Nacho. That's the problem.
Nacho's the food or the dog?
The dog. She clearly feels like she doesn't get enough attention.
Yeah, you would think that I was in a house full of 18 people and she was struggling for attention, when it's just me and her in this house. Like, what are you doing, dog?
She just needs some love. That's all.
Yes.
That's all. The sweet girl.
But yeah, so that's my thing, is I want everybody to be better. And here's part of the reason that I say and do the things that I do is because I know what it's like on the other side. I know what it's like to be depressed. I know what it's like to feel like, why am I even fucking here? Like, I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like not to be wanted. I know those things. And if I can help somebody not feel that way, I'll do my best to try to do that.
That's awesome.
It really is.
That's really, really cool. So, looking forward.
Yes, sir.
We've got the San Diego. This is not the San Diego.
Hey,
so
Josh,
yes, we've got the closing the summer Jeremy Long show, which is the sister show to the Huntsville Pop Culture and Comic Expo, which is Sand Mountain Collector Con this weekend.
San Diego.
Yeah, hey Josh, I love you and all, but my line to hang out with you at a show is roughly the Mason-Dixon line. All right, I'm not going beyond that.
Fine. But no, the Sand Mountain show. It's a first-year show.
Yes, but it's not a first-time showrunner.
No, and that's an important distinction. The city of Albertville actually kind of came to Jeremy and said, hey, this expo thing seems to be drawing a lot of business to Huntsville. Would you want to come and do a show at our place and see if we can do the same thing up there?
That's awesome.
It is awesome. And that's good for them that they're looking and going, what can we do? Hey, that's a cool thing. We can do that.
Well, and they reach out to our friend Jeremy and say, hey, you seem to have this down.
Which he does. He absolutely does.
Yo, Rob Brown is a beast, by the way.
He seems like such a nice guy.
No, but I'm an artistic beast.
I knew what you meant, brother. I was just messing with you.
He did the old covers for Evil Ernie and Insane Clown Posse and
nice.
Undertaker and Mankind. He did a lot of Chaos Comics covers.
Man, we've got a lot of those old Evil Ernies we just picked up in a collection the other day.
Yeah. So if you ever look at those and it says Reb at the bottom, R-E-B, that's him, Rob E. Brown.
I will have to look because I've got a lot of those old Chaos Comics at the house, the Evil Ernies.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to this to the Sand Mountain. I've never I've never noticed that I've been there, but since it's like right off of I-20, I guess I've driven through it before.
It's not off I-20. If you're from where you're coming up, you'd want to come up through the mountains.
I think my Google map says I'm just going to take 20.
Yeah, his the way that he's going would actually be drop down to Gadsden Anniston and hit 431,
and then come up that way. Okay,
and then come up. Yeah, that's actually the quickest way.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
whatever the Google
work
Maps
well.
lady tells me, that's where I'm going to go.
We go wherever Miss Garmin says. That's what we do.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. Jeremy knows how to put on a show.
Yes, he does.
And Jeremy has a way of keeping people around him, like as far as like his volunteers and his helper people. Like those people live and die for Jeremy, like for the Huntsville Expo. And if he's using that team to put on the Sand Mountain show this weekend,
there will be some folks from there.
Smooth sailing.
Yeah, there will be some folks from that team, but it's also about bringing up other folks that are local to Albertville and all that. But yeah, they'll learn from the best.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're going to have food trucks. They're going to have, like at night, they're having like Battle of the Bands and stuff like that.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, yeah. In addition to having super cool vendors like Haven Comics, that's amazing. But yeah,
those guys never have shit I'm looking for. but to be fair, what I'm looking for is free shit.
Oh, yeah, you never know, brother. We might have some of that. But yeah, we've got Spinner Rack is going to be there. Jeremy's going to have his full setup there. The only thing I'm disappointed in is if you look at the floor plan, like Haven is about where you see the banner over my shoulder about where Haven Comics is. And Nana's Sweet Treats is all the way down in the other corner away from us. Like, I'm going to have to get my steps in to go over there and get that pound cake.
I see. I can't eat cake. So the Nana treat that gets me is, I think she calls it some kind of crack. I don't know, like marshmallow crack.
Yeah. Eat some of that stuff.
Because there's no gluten in there. And so that's what she lets me get. And sometimes she'll know that I'm going to be at a show and she will make gluten-free brownies or gluten-free cookies and stuff.
She made gluten-free brownies at the expo this past year for somebody, and they didn't show up. It wasn't for you. It was for somebody else.
But I gave them back to her because I said it's too many calories.
Oh, is that it?
Well, I know that she baked something for me, and I was like, dude, that's just – because she'd already given me like a couple of things, and then she was like, here, this. And I was like, dude, that's just – I can't – I'm going to be fat again.
Well, I'll tell you what happened with that was my sister is
celiac,
can't do the gluten or any of that stuff. And I said, here, have her and my niece both were just like, this is manna from heaven. They were so happy.
Yeah.
They were so happy. But yeah, we're pretty far away from her. That's my only beef with the show setup. I'm like, I need to be closer to that so I can keep an eye on when she's running low on the stuff I want.
Yeah, Nana stuff is great.
I'm looking at the floor plan now, and I'm trying to see where, naturally, I zeroed right in on Nana.
Well, yeah, that's the first thing I was looking for.
But I don't see where the two of y'all are at.
We're two of who?
Okay, I see where Haven is now. I just see Haven.
We're way up in the top right corner.
I don't think the guests are on that.
The guests are not on there. The guests are all at the far end of the building on the left. Well, down there where the spinner rack is and Nana Sweet Treats. It's not shown on there, but the guests are all at the far end of the building on the left.
Yeah, the Ringo nominees are down at the other end.
Dude, that's awesome because that's where I'll be. No, that's pretty sweet. But yeah, dude, it's going to be a fun show. We're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Uh-oh.
So you said you're bringing a couple of paintings?
Yeah, I have two 16 by 24 framed. I posted on my social media. One of them is the blue lady, and the other one is the crying eye.
Oh yeah, that one's cool.
So you get to see what those look like in person.
Nice. They look good online. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's something about them in person that just it looks a little different because the colors are like there's no filter between your eye and the thing. Whereas going through digital stuff, you know, you may lose some quality, you may lose stuff.
Well, I tell you, I really enjoyed when you started getting into the whole watercolor thing and just watching you grow that skill set because it's really, really cool to see. She is cute as a button, dude.
Yeah, this is what you can do when you go to your local pound and find someone that matches you.
She is just sweet as can be. My goodness. Uh, all right, are we ready to talk comics, Alan? You ready for a breakdown? You got your Storfolio? Storfolio.
Actually, I was sitting here looking at Bryan's Facebook and Instagram, trying to see where he had posted what he was bringing to show that.
No, just it's two paintings propped up against the fireplace. It's like from 2 days ago.
And one of them we can't show on here, dude.
Well, it's not like gratuitous. Like
No, I know.
I think one of them like flashed earlier during one of the reels.
it did, but that was the blue lady, but that was the other version. That one's already been sold.
Rock on with your bad self.
Yeah, I'm not seeing one or two propped up against the fireplace. I'm on Instagram. Did you post it?
Oh,
there?
that's not on Instagram. It's on Facebook.
Well, that's why I don't see it then.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah, it really does.
Boy, he is intense.
He is.
Oh, well, let me show. Actually, Josh, I want to show you why I just got really intense there for a second. Because I did not notice this earlier.
Oh, yeah. Conan and Red Sonja.
Heck yeah. Look at that sword.
That is pretty spiffy looking.
Yeah, that's when I work with two major colorists or two colorists most of the time. And when I work with Sean Lee, he does a more painterly style coloring job. And then this is the end product. And it just provides me the diversity of being able to give my customers something that looks more like a painting, even though it's really still my line art. Or if they want something more traditional comic book coloring, when I use Demir.
Question for you on that. Conan's hair there in that shot.
Yes. Some of it's digital.
I was going to say, did you draw like all those strands? How much of that is ink versus color?
Anything that's white and sitting on top, I did digitally, because what it is, I know when I'm drawing what I'm going to do in what I call post-production. So I will draw what I need to draw on the page because I know what I'm capable of before I finish the finished line art to turn into the colorist. So I knew that I would have wispy hairs. So I drew some as best I could, but I don't have a way to put white back on there and have it look good. So what I'll do is I'll do the best I can. I'll come over to the scanner, scan it in, and then I'll put the wispy hairs in digitally. And then I'll take the original piece of paper and I'll try to do them with white out as best I can. But I don't that way that I don't have to cover that back up and then do it when I turn it in.
Incredible.
And her hair, I had to fix some of her hair too because I was having trouble with it. So some of her hair is fixed digitally as well.
Well, she looks like she's moving. She's got a lot of dynamic motion going on there.
Well, they're both, the wind is coming from that direction, so that's why their hair is blowing, and the snow is blowing. I really enjoyed doing that piece. I wanted to do. I think I really had fun. I thought that would get me some more work.
Well,
I tell you, the new Conan book is selling very, very well.
That Conan book is flipping awesome.
Yeah, that's breaking. See, this is Sean Lee's colors again.
Man, look at that. Oh.
That was published by 2000 AD.
That was one of the recent Dredd movie. The first one they did was terrible, but the recent Dredd movie was pretty amazing, and I wish they would make another one.
Yes, I agree.
That's one of my favorite pieces that you've done that's like just pure comic style.
Yeah.
That's a really fun one.
I like the detail that you put in on the bottom of his boot or bottom of his shoe. You don't see that a ton.
I'm a detail guy, and there's probably still room for more precision in there because I can see where shit doesn't quite line up.
That one's
wow.
awesome too. And a lot of these are available in a certain sketchbook called I Draw Stuff.
Yeah, well, a lot of them are available in prints that I'll also have.
That's a bad hair day right there.
No, that's supposed to be, that was Scotty Young's book called something about They Love Me in the Dark, or The Me You Love in the Dark.
Yep.
It was about stuff going on in her house.
Oh, I like that one too.
You always draw Man Thing and Swamp Thing both really, really well. That Floronic Man piece you did a few years ago is one of my favorites. I love that.
Right on. Thank you, sir.
Oh, that one's good looking too.
Yo, wait till you see the original art this weekend, because the original art for that piece just is, I'm so proud of it.
Have you seen? This may be more of interest to you than a lot of people. Did you see what Bill Willingham did today?
I did not.
Effective as of tomorrow, the 15th, all of Fables, anything done in Fables,
public domain
spinoff, he made it public domain.
Yeah, I heard something about that, but I'm unfamiliar.
Fables was amazing. And the covers for Fables, especially the last 40 or 50 of them, just absolutely exquisite. It's pretty much any of the fairy tales you've ever heard.
Yeah.
The story started off with these fairy tale characters are in New York. They have to hide who they are from regular folks, right? So only ones that look human or have a glamour or something that lets them look human can go out in the streets and stuff. But they had to run to New York. They had to escape there from somewhere else where they were being hunted down by somebody called the Adversary.
Yeah.
And it was full of heart and humor and serious stuff all at the same time. Just a phenomenal world, really interesting. And then who the bad guy turned out to be was kind of cool too. And they resolved that around issue 50 or 60, but it went on for another 100 issues where it just kept going on and on. Really, really great book. It had a spin-off short story that was an audio book that was read by Will Wheaton. All kinds of cool stuff. But for him to be so frustrated with DC that he's just like, screw you guys, and I'm going to make this public domain. Anybody can do anything they want with it. There's a lot of properties in there that may be inspirational for you to look at it and go, I could do something with that character.
Yeah, I'd have to look through it. If you have any suggestions, feel free, like, if you have anything that you feel fits me, like, right on, just send it my way, and I'll have fun stuff. I'll do fun stuff. I don't care.
Yeah, one of the things that he said in that little release, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he was pretty much toward the end of that press release. It was, look, I can't do anything with it because of this, and this. That's why I'm giving it to you. It is 100% y'all's now. Go make the comic books. Go make the movies. Go make this. Go forward and do with it what you want. And, I mean, it was definitely a big middle finger to DC what he did.
I'll have to investigate.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best FU letters I've ever read.
I'll give you that. Yeah, that was pretty impressive that he would take that stance.
Yep. On a personal note, are you going to have prints of Conan and Red Sonja there?
I do have those, yes.
Will you sign it, Ringo Award nominee Brian Silverbacks?
I can, yes, but I don't normally do that.
He charges by the letter, Alan.
Yeah, so if you want just Ringo nominee or Ringo Award nominee, like that's two different prices.
Okay, then we can just go Ringo nominee. Yeah,
that's a $5 difference.
Yeah, that's a $5 difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because
it's actually funny you say that. A friend of mine, his name is Andy, and his last name is Ward. And where he works, they do their email addresses first initial last name. So his email is award at .com. Easiest email in the world to remember, but it's like you feel like you're messaging somebody who's just been on Oprah all the time, and it's like you get a car and you get a car. It's like he gets awards all the time.
Yeah, I actually have one of your prints. It is the one that you did several years ago, Batman in the Rain.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
that
just
was a
a
good
side
one.
profile face.
Yes, I've got that one. And I definitely feel like I need to add Conan and Red Sonja to the gallery.
Yeah, there's definitely a step up in quality between those two.
Dude, I don't know. That Batman in the Rain was pretty badass.
I will partially agree with you, but I can definitely pick it apart.
Well, that's why we're fans and admirers, and that you pick things apart because you see all the flaws. I will say I've been thinking about you a lot lately on some of the books that are coming out that are very throwback books to the '90s.
Oh, dude. Okay.
And you saw this Ian Churchill cover that he just did for the upcoming Dutch #0, which is, I swear to goodness, it could have been the cover of Youngblood #3.
I have seen a lot more Liefeld Extreme Studio stuff popping up. What'd you say it was?
It's a book called Dutch. If you remember,
Well, I remember Dutch because
if you remember Dutch, yes, he's got a comeback. He's got a new book coming out. Joe Casey's writing it, the whole 9 yards, and Ian Churchill did a variant cover for it, which is straight out of 1994.
Yes, but so on that note, is it? Oh, that might just be the regular one from the 90s. He's just holding the gun.
Now, this one's a close-up of him kind of like, he's leaning forward and he's punching down at something or something, I forget. But we looked at it last week when we were doing our Indies preview review, and it was just kind of like a step back in time, man. It was going back 30 years.
I will give your listeners or viewers insight into something I'm doing. So, like I said earlier, art is what got me into comic books and what kind of kept me there for a while.
Sure.
And the image stuff was very bombastic, if that's a thing that you can do visually. Like it
absolutely is, and it absolutely was.
Mm-hmm.
And that is part of what appealed to my senses as a teenager, right? So I have taken it upon myself to do a 100% Bryan book that is nothing more than just big cyber armed guys just fighting each other and shit. And just the story is almost inconsequential to just so much 90s action, big frame breaking, that type of stuff. And I'm going to do 4 issues of that. So I'm working on that by myself, and I'm writing it and I'm doing all the art.
Rock on.
So it'll take a while to get done, but I just want to have this done, and just so I want this, whatever this is that whenever I'm done, if that's whatever I get done, like my creator own stuff, then that's it. I'll be okay with that. Like that, I will feel that I gave it my best.
Is this the one where you posted like the pictures of the
yes. The 2 pieces of paper?
Yes, with the fight, yes. Talking fight.
Because very much like the scenes, the Matrix movie script is only 72 pages long, right? And in movie talk, 1 page equals about a minute of screen time. So most scripts in Hollywood are 90 pages. The script for The Matrix was 72 pages because they literally would just write fight scene. So they didn't choreograph all of that into the script. So what I've done is I've just set aside a certain number of pages so that as I'm drawing, if I feel like, someone needs to, like, I know who wins, but I don't know all the moves and all the stuff that's going to go on, because I want that to be organic and just, I want to make something that's just so fun to look at.
That's awesome. I tell you, there's a panel in the Black Widow book. I think it was a 3-issue limited series. It came out 15 years ago or so. J.G. Jones did the art.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a panel. It was like 3 or 4 pages in. It was a page reveal, so I guess it was on the page 5.
Yeah.
Where
No, even number pages.
or even number, so it would have been 4 then. So it's you see this truck is going over a cliff. That's the bottom of the page, and you flip the page, and the truck has gone over the cliff. And the camera angle is you're up here looking down at this truck going over the cliff, and Black Widow is like flipping out of the truck, and she's kind of in this arch.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
And then this other guy is falling. The perspective, this had to have been a perspective nightmare to draw, where you've got all the lines converging on the point and all this stuff. That panel, that's a full page splash page. That panel has stuck with me since the first time I saw it, as like, holy smokes. And so when you start talking about this fight with all these cool things happening, I'm picturing like page after page of those kinds of images.
Oh yes, that's what I'm going for. I really, because here's the thing, Josh, I just want to have fun. I want to draw what I liked about comics and leave that behind, because maybe somebody will see that and that will be what they like. What brought me into comics is what I want to leave behind. I want to leave behind that, because I feel like that, for me as an artist that didn't have the greatest ability to read, like, this was fun. So I'm going to make my own version.
Well, I think the timing may be very, very good, because I'm seeing a whole lot of love for 90s comics is starting to come back around. You got this 30-year cycle, right? And in the 90s, people this early 60s. Well, stuff is happening now where people are going back and they're referencing that old stuff from the 90s. And you have always in your comics, you've got that heavy ink style that just like punches you off the page, right? Like that Bebop and Rocksteady. That just says like you can recreate, you can look modern, but you've got that 90s feel. Like, really,
I can't wash it out. I don't do it on purpose. It's just how my brain says this is what's okay.
It's awesome. And I think you may be well positioned for this coming wave of nostalgia for those early 90s comics.
I hope so. I hope I can land some work.
Yes, indeed. Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, IDW, Image.
I would love to do some Dark Horse stuff. I'd love to do IDW. Like, I've never done a Boom project. I've never done an IDW project. I've never done a Dark Horse project. Like, I've never done anything on those guys.
You would do a Hellacious Hellboy.
Ooh, that'd be fun. But I'm sure that, like, whatever. I'll do it all. Give it to me. I can fuck everything up.
No, I think I can see your style hitting really, really hard on Hellboy. I think that would be awesome.
So y'all are talking, and I'm like just over here Facebook stalking Silverbacks and calculating, spending money in my head. My next question is, will the Velma print be there?
Yes. That was a commission.
So I need Red Sonja and Conan. Have you seen the Velma print, Josh?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's freaking awesome. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I got to let this dog out, fellas.
Have a good one, brother. Man, we appreciate it. We'll see you Saturday, if not tomorrow.
Yeah, I won't be there tomorrow. I'll be leaving Saturday morning.
Okay, we'll see you there Saturday then.
All right, you guys. See you there.
Have a good one. Bye, Nacho.
Stay creative. I got to find the off button.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Bryan at the show this week. I think the show is going to be really good. I think people are pumped for it. I think people are going to turn out.
I saw the picture of the venue that I'm guessing Jeremy posted on the Facebook page.
Yeah, it's pretty swanky looking, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks really nice. I can't wait to get there and see how it's actually going to be.
Nacho is a cute dog. She's gorgeous.
And man, I would love to own one of his watercolor paintings, but there's two things. One, I don't know where I'm going to put it.
Yep.
And two, when I come home with the one that I want, I'm gonna be in so much trouble.
Yep. Yep. I understand all aspects of that. So grab out that Storefolio. Let's talk some comics here to close out the show.
Believe it or not, I did not have a massive week, but I did definitely have a good week. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that was right there.
Sneaky Storefolio.
Yep. Since he's been mentioned so much here the past few minutes, let's just go ahead and go on with Conan the Barbarian, issue number 2. So in this particular, and by the way, and I do call it out in on the pull list, Titan Comics has done an amazing job with Conan in these 2 issues. It has been so good. But Conan and I believe her name is Briss or something like that. They're basically following the Pick or Pit, however you want to call it. It's Pict, so however you want to pronounce it.
Picked.
The
Yeah.
Pict.
Yep.
Okay. They are following them, and you find out that it's what they're doing is they're actually taking all the corpses of the people that they've killed, and they're taking them somewhere. And the entire issue is basically Conan and her and Briss following them. You find out a little more about her. We do get a little more. And Mike, you know,
you can go visit it.
It's a gorgeous piece of art. All joking aside, it is a beautiful piece of art. And that's take that aspect out of it. It's still just a beautiful piece of art. But if you're not reading Conan, y'all really need to give this one a shot.
I was gonna read Conan, but we sold out of it before I could get it. And that says something.
Believe it or not, I'm not signed up for it, but I was actually able to snatch this one off the wall. So
I increased my orders for number 2 because number 1 sold so well.
Yeah, it's been really good, and I can understand why it's selling well. Titan is doing a really good job. It's been some good art.
Mike Deodato Jr. is doing a cover for it that looks awesome.
Yeah, this cover is by Alan Qua. Let's say his name.
I believe so.
And it's they're not rushing the story. I've enjoyed the pacing of it also, and this Conan has more of a feel to the Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan that we got. That's kind of the feel of it, at least to me it is, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've enjoyed it. You know, I was born in the 70s, raised up in the 80s. That's kind of my Conan. But
so my question is, does Robert Earl Jones put in an appearance?
No, he's not in this issue. In fact, if he does show up, it's probably just going to be his ghost. But it's I don't really know how to say it other than it's Conan. It's exactly what you want it to be. It's exactly what it's supposed to be, and it's been a good story so far. Just with 2 issues, Titans definitely got me sold on this one. I'm looking
good story and good art. Let me think. Yep, that sounds good.
Do it.
It's a good story and good art. Let me think. Yep, that's a good comic.
Yep. Next we have, and it's been a while since I read all these, but Moon Knight issue number 27.
So good.
It was fantastic. Basically in this particular issue, they are inside of someone's mind.
Yep.
And it was great because once they were inside someone's mind, Jake and Stephen could actually separate from Moon Knight, so you could have all of them there. And there was a fight going on. There's a lot going on. I don't want to ruin it because I think that this is an issue that people really need to read to truly appreciate it. But Hunter's Moon is with him, and he tells him, hey, look, I need you to hold this off so I can talk to this dude over here. And it's like thousands are rushing. And Hunter's Moon is like, I'm supposed to hold him off by myself. And he goes, no. Remember, you're connected to all the past fists. So kind of just let them out. Let them help you. And that's what it was. I mean, he just basically, you see fists from almost like every generation, so to speak.
Yep, from caveman Moon Knight to Egyptian Moon Knight to Japanese Moon Knight. Yeah, well, not Japanese, but
I don't know where McKay is going. If he does decide to kill Mark Spector, that's not the end of the world. I think that it's going to be just fine because Hunter's Moon can definitely carry this book for several issues and Moon Knight still come back. That's already been covered in Hunter's Moon's story.
Yep.
The fists have died before and Khonshu brings them back. So I think this is my personal opinion. I could be completely and totally wrong. I think we will see Mark Spector die in the coming issues. I think that Hunter's Moon will carry the book while he is devising a plot to break Khonshu out of prison on Asgard. And once
I'd read it.
Yeah, once Khonshu comes back, that's when we'll see Mark Spector return. And I really hope that somewhere, somehow, some way, they visit the story that was in the annual where Mark Spector killed Khonshu and became the Moon God himself.
Now, what did you think of, what did they call her? Lumina.
Was she in this one? Or was
No,
she in
no, not in this one, just in recent Moon Knight in the past couple weeks. I think it was in the Dark What If.
Oh, yeah. Was it Lumina or Luminary or something like that?
I think it was Lumina.
Yeah.
She looked pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie.
I would like to see them because that was the one that I had. For those of you that watched the pull list, you're about to know what we're talking about. That was the issue that I had covered where Mark is actually dies and Marlene becomes Moon Knight.
Yep.
And that's that was because you're reading it and you're like, okay, how is this really a dark issue? This is just a standard what if. Right. And then at the end of it, it kind of switches and you get a massive twist at the end of it. I would like to see more of that.
I would too. I was intrigued. I thought it was pretty great.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see more of that. Next up, and this is the artist spotlight cover by Rose Besh. I had to pick this cover up because I thought it was great.
These covers are great.
Batman issue 137. Batman is already done with Catwoman's plan. He is taking out her henchmen left and right.
Yep.
If you read to really and truly understand what's going on in here, you had to have read Gotham War issue 1.
Yep. It sets up everything.
Yeah, it sets it all up. You understand why Batman's doing what he's doing. You understand why Catwoman, Jason Todd, you understand where everybody's at. You've got to read Gotham War issue 1 before you read this. And in this issue, we end up with Batman versus the Bat Family. I mean, it happens. They all end up into it. And this will probably be one of the very few issues that you will ever read where you're actually happy when Damian shows up.
That is a true statement.
It's just a very well done issue. And even at the end of the issue with the Bat Family, you can tell there's already regret there. Because they know eventually they're going to have to face Dad again, and Dad's going to put a whooping on them.
Yep.
But
well deserved too.
I do believe that if I got my issue number right, the next issue in this story will be Catwoman 57.
So that's right.
If Catwoman 57 is anything like this, you're going to have, if you're only reading Catwoman, you're going to have to read this to know what's going on in Catwoman, just because of the way it was set up in Gotham War.
Don't worry, Bill. You get some of that in this issue.
Yeah, you do. You do get a little bit of that in there. I plan on reading the entire Gotham War. I mean, I like what they're doing with it. Or what Zdarsky's done with it. So we'll definitely be picking up Catwoman. I don't know if Catwoman 57 is this week or next week. Did you get it?
There was a mosquito that had landed on me, and then it flew off.
Kill it.
That's what I was trying to do.
Next up we'll jump on this one. Star Wars issue 38. This is part of the Dark Droids series. I'm not reading all of the Dark Droids robots, but the Dark Droids stories.
Crossover.
Yeah, but I can tell you that you really and truly do not need to know what's going on and all of the others to follow this issue. It's a good issue. It was a solid issue. Talkie is back. Lando's going to try to get him to fix Lobot. And it covers a little misleading, but it still pertains to the book. I've said this in the past, and I'm willing to just go ahead and put 100% on it now. I think what's fixing to happen, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is we're at issue 38. They're going to run this up to 50 issues, just like they did in the past with the last run. And then that's when Jedi will happen. So I think we've got roughly 12 issues before we get to Jedi. And then there'll probably be a month or two break, and hopefully they'll be picking up Star Wars again right after the end of Jedi, because at that point, that's when the sky's the limit as far as stories are concerned. Next up, and I've enjoyed all 3 issues so far. It's been a very fun read, and I don't know how many is going to be in this miniseries, and however many it is, it's not going to be enough. And that's Godzilla, Here There Be Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I'm loving the pirate aspect of it.
It's brilliant.
I was wondering how pirates would fit with Godzilla, but the story that's being told, it fits perfectly. I mean, it really does. If you're a fan of Godzilla, you need to read this book. If you're a fan of pirates, you need to read this book. I mean, it appeals to both of them. Godzilla is the central character, but he's not in the entire book, if that makes sense. You only see Godzilla when you really and truly need to see Godzilla. I like the little thing about that. I believe it was Sir Francis Bacon actually hid the treasure in Godzilla's cave. So we know where we're headed, and I love that the way you fight a monster is with a monster. Bill, I have not picked that up because I mainly just went up to the shop Wednesday to grab the Lorcana cards. I'll be going back by there tomorrow to film shorts and stuff. And I was thinking about grabbing it then and checking it out. And then this is the last one, and I've covered this one in the past because we had the advanced reader copy, but Crusader #1 by Mad Cave Studios is out now. Now is the time to grab this book. It's a fun read. It's an easy read. It's a quick read.
It's a bizarre read.
It is a bizarre read. But it's bizarre in a way that makes you want to know what's fixing to happen.
Oh, very much so. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah, I want to know why there's other humans there. I want to know why he can no longer take his armor off. And then it's the ultimate, does he make it back to where he's from? So I mean, it is definitely a bizarre read, but it's a good bizarre. So if you're looking for a break from superheroes or things like that, Godzilla, Here There Be Dragons, and Crusader by Mad Cave. Those are your break books right now. That'll take you kind of away from superheroes to kind of bust up your reading habits some.
And not featured this week, but The Hunger and the Dusk, #1 and #2. We just got a reorder of #1 up at the shop. So you can start with the first issue and pick up both The Hunger and the Dust #1 and #2, which we very both strongly recommend. Is I can't speak English now. We both very strongly recommend.
The bad thing about it is you said it, and I'm just sitting here just flat out agreeing with you. I knew exactly what you was talking about.
Yeah, it's an excellent book. The story is great. The art is beautiful. I'm really, really, really digging it.
Yeah, and I mean, I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. If you did not pick up issues 1 and 2 of Hunger in the Dusk, you need to grab them now while you can, because this is one of those that 2 issues in, and about halfway through the second issue, it will hit you that you're reading something epic. This is going to be I'm not sitting here saying it's going to be, issue #1 is going to be $100 by the end of the week or $1,000. And
we don't care about that. We care, is it a great story that's going to keep your attention and build a world that you want to be immersed in?
Yeah, purely the story. The story, the way it's being built out, and the way everything's happening. If you don't pick this book up and read it, you're missing something epic, period. I mean, it's just that good.
Yep.
And for something that literally, it was one of those that showed up in my box, and I was like, oh, I guess Josh wants to talk about it on Shop Talk. Let me go ahead and grab this and read it and give us something to talk about. And by the time I finished the first issue, I'm like, oh, he gets me. He really does. He gets me.
That's awesome. Yeah, as always, fun talking with Bryan. Always good talking comics, and we are looking forward to the Sand Mountain Collectors Con starting on Saturday and Sunday this week. This is the inaugural year, and I think it's going to be a fantastic show. So, yeah, it's the first-year con, but it's not being run by a first-year con runner, and that's an important distinction that Bryan pointed out. This is being run by a guy who knows exactly what he's doing and puts on one heck of a show every single time. So getting in on the ground floor is going to be pretty awesome, and I am really looking forward to it. So anything before we let folks go and we shut her down for the night?
Yes, if you are going to the con, just like at the Huntsville Pop Culture Expo, Josh will sign all of your books if you ask him.
Absolutely. I'll even do it for free.
Really? And if Bryan does sign that, Ringo nominee Bryan Silverbacks, y'all ain't going to be able to tell me anything. I will officially have the find of the entire expo as far as I'm concerned, or the entire con.
That's true. You'll have to live stream that.
I was going to actually get over there and see how the signal is in the building. If there is not a live stream Saturday, I will definitely be filming some. So I will get y'all an upload so y'all can at least check out.
We could do some shorts with some, like Stephen Butler is going to be there.
Yeah,
Lily, his daughter, who's getting some credits of her own in comics now as a colorist. She's going to be there. Plus actors from The Mandalorian and Star Wars and Walking Dead and all kind of stuff. Some voiceover actors for anime. It's going to be a great show, so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I cannot promise that there will be a live stream of the show Saturday, of the con Saturday, just because I don't know what the signal's like there. But I do promise y'all some video. I'll at least walk around for a few minutes and film everything. So for those of you that can't make the car drive over, you can at least check it out on YouTube and see what it was like.
We can make people hungry and shoot some video of Nana's sweet treats. Oh, just popping open that clamshell with that pound cake in there.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I'm going to have to go downstairs and get myself a snack now.
And to give everybody a fair warning, Nick Ellis and I are going together to the con. So there's no telling what's going to happen.
There could be road trip shenanigans, guys.
Yeah, I know there's going to be donuts involved.
That's right, because you have to bring me one.
Yep, and we will be taking care of that.
Awesome. Well, good night, everybody, and we will see you Saturday at Sand Mountain.